Please listen to this message for you. It's from the groups of Phase 5 Record Show. When someone said we need to spread the news, we decided to share it through a song. Black crime, white crime, stop the dealing, stop the killing. It's time to kick that devil out your mind. Black crime, white crime, stop the dealing, stop the killing. It's time to kick that devil out your mind. Wake up, let's unite. 'Cause our lives matter. Rise up, protect your rights. 'Cause our lives matter. Stand up, let's unite. 'Cause our lives matter. Rise up, protect your rights.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Jones here with Rock in the Valley, and welcome to Wake Up, Rise Up, the weekly show where we're talking to people who are behind the scenes on the World Peace Concert. Okay, with me tonight is Meagan Murry. She is with the Houston stage, because she told me that earlier, so now I know it. Thank you for joining us tonight, and I turned my phone off this time too. So, how are you?
I'm great, Steve, and I'm very glad to be able to be part of this.
First question I'll ask is kind of, how did you get involved with Wake Up, Rise Up?
Last year, me and Calvin, Calvin had been working on a World Peace Concert event for 5 years, putting something together, and he just happened to come across Wake Up, Rise Up doing the same thing. Okay. So we reached out and we kind of just joined with them last year, and then we weren't quite as prepared, so we weren't in it last year, but we are definitely ready to go this year.
Oh, excellent. You know, I heard about you guys. I did hear about you guys. Angle the phone up just a little bit because you keep on cutting your eyes. There you go. That's good. Yeah, I heard about you guys. And I thought, I wonder who's the other people that were doing this thing. You know, and that goes to prove that people are hungry for this whole
yes.
You know,
yes, definitely. Yeah. There used to be on September 21st, which is World Peace Day, there used to be events all over the place for things like this, and they just don't happen anymore. And I feel that we should be able to bring all that back.
Why do you think they stopped?
I really don't know. I think maybe just, especially with the pandemic, I think that had a lot to do with it. But even prior to that, they were starting to die off. And I think people might have started feeling that their voices weren't getting heard. And I think what Wake Up, Rise Up and what we are all participating in is a great platform to remind people that their voices are heard, and that if we all come together as one, we can make things different.
Do you think maybe, and I'm reaching here, just kind of throwing ideas out, do you think maybe that we reached a certain level of complacency where we kind of took our peace, the United States peace, for granted, not thinking there's issues as we're seeing now in Europe and in Ukraine or other places? I was talking with another stage. They talked about unrest in Ireland. I wasn't aware that Ireland still had fights going on, or the Mideast or other places. Maybe we just take our own stuff for granted and we're complacent. Is that possible?
I think that's very accurate. I think there is a lot of complacency. I think, we are told things by certain entities and we just take it at face value, and we've all been conditioned to just swallow what we're told, and that's not the way it should be. We should think for ourselves, research things, make our own opinions, because there's so much that we aren't told that we should be told. Be
more proactive in stuff as well, kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I know people, there are people who sit back and say, I ain't voting because you can't trust anybody down there. Well, they're probably right that you can't trust anybody down there, because the reason you can't trust them is because you won't get out there and vote to put the right people in.
Right. I don't get into politics a lot. I do vote, but
I stepped on a landmine there, but yeah.
For several elections, it has been kind of choosing the lesser of two evils. But if you don't cast your vote, you don't really have the right to say anything because you're enabling whatever to happen because you're not speaking up.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, it's a double-edged sword when you talk politics or you get out there and say you got to become part of it. A lot of people don't want to get involved with that. A good friend of mine, a local politician here, let's just kind of cut to that. I was kidding with him. He's a young man, and he had just gotten his place. I think he's on the state legislation. Forgive me. And I said to him, I said, "Wait," I said, "So you're gonna be heading to D.C. You're our next president, ha ha." And he looked at me as serious as they come. He says, "I wouldn't jump into that nightmare down there if you tripled my pay that I would be getting to get in down there." He says, "It's nuts down there." So, I mean, and then you sit back, you look at all the crazy stuff that goes on. But I have to agree. There's a certain level of complacency. We tend to isolate ourselves, and pandemic definitely isolated everybody. I mean, up here it ruined the music industry. I don't know about down there with you guys, but
it did too. It shut everything down here. We actually shortly after the pandemic started, Calvin and several other venue owners that he networks with put on a protest of sorts, proving that they could stay open and follow the social distancing rules and not sell the alcohol and all of that. And one venue in particular has been targeted greatly by the TABC, and he has spent pretty much everything he has fighting them.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't violate any rules though, but they just are targeting him. And that just is another point of the complacency is I think people feel that after trying to take a stand so long, people coming at them that way, so they just become complacent and okay, we're not going to be able to make a difference.
Yeah, people just roll, and that's it. And that's the thing, freedom has a cost. You got to stand up for something, and even peace, you have to stand up for. It's just as enhanced to you.
Exactly. You have our men and women in the armed forces who put their lives on the line every day to defend that peace for us. And if the average citizen just takes it for granted and doesn't stand up to protect it, where are we going to end up? And where is the youth of this nation going to end up?
Exactly. Well, do you remember that movie with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson, A Few Good Men?
Yes.
Remember the speech he made? I mean, he was wrong about the code red, apparently, but he stood there and he made that speech about being on the line.
Yes.
Remember that? That was a heck of a talk, because I've had, I'm sure you have too, but we all have had somebody in the service and they stood that line.
Exactly.
And I had a daughter in the service, and if my daughter would have seen action, I probably would have had a nervous breakdown. But yeah, you got to stand the line for peace, because there is that line, and Ukraine is showing that. There's a line between peace and not peace.
Exactly. There's actually a song that I've come across recently by Dee Snider that he did after there was a shooting at a venue that a concert was happening at. And the song is called Stand. And it talks about how you have to stand for something. And one of the lines is, "Don't leave a mark, leave a scar." And I think that is a great line, because it speaks to how much we need to take a stand and unite to make peace happen.
So from yourself, okay, what's your motivation? I mean, is it just, hey, we need to do this, or is there something else? I mean, what's driving you?
My motivation is more of a personal nature. You could say I've had family and friends lost to gun violence, some of which were suicide by gun. Some were being murdered. My daughter has been a victim of school violence. Children can't go to school today without being worried. Is there going to be a shooting at our school or an intruder? And my daughter had an experience with that. And she had actually found a note in the bathroom talking about there was going to be a shooting at the school, and she reported it. The school did not take her seriously. And the very next day they went on lockdown because the kids that she had reported showed up with many, many weapons and were intending to carry this out. And luckily, they were stopped before it got that far. But there are so many times it's not stopped.
That doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, I interrupted you there. Kids with guns and doing that in school makes zero sense to me.
It makes zero sense to me at all. I don't understand. And, you know, I've heard people say, oh, it's the video games, or it's the violence on TV, or it's what they watch, or they don't have any extracurricular activities to keep them out of trouble. And those, to me personally, are excuses.
Yeah.
Because it starts at home. You have to, you know, teach your children. You can't put them in front of a video game and let that be the babysitter.
Exactly.
And yes, if you are going to own a gun or any other weapon for that matter, you have to be responsible and teach your children about it and that it is not a toy. And if you see signs that your child's struggling, you should take methods to get them help before it gets to a point where they start shooting up a school.
Exactly. I agree. Now here's an interesting in contrast. Okay. When I was back in junior high, which is last century's equivalent of today's middle school, we had a gun club in school where you could learn how to shoot. A whole bunch of we're out back, boom, you know. I used to shoot when I was 10 years old. The first gun I shot was a double barrel shotgun. I'm this little Banny Rooster, 14-pound kid who's got a double barrel shotgun. I put it in there. I'm gonna shoot. Boom, boom. I pull off both barrels. Okay. I went up back there going, okay. I have black and blue mark on my arm the size of the butt of the gun. Okay. But I learned how to shoot. Okay. And I went to a whole bunch of these block shoots with shotguns, and I won turkeys and hams and all this other stuff. But I learned how to respect a gun. All right.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
If there's no respect for the weapon and what it can do, then it's in the wrong hands. Exactly. Because it's not the guns killing people, it's the people with the guns. You know, the gun doesn't pull the trigger itself. And I think there should be stricter guidelines as to who can access weapons.
Yeah, very much so. It's like that thing they were just talking about, the ghost guns, and that people who have a severe mental health issues, you know.
Exactly.
You want some guy out there who's got 15 personalities. So it's like, which one is he today? You know?
Right.
And now you got yourself a problem.
Yeah.
And, you know, and to speak to the problem, you're talking about kids today. Why are they doing stuff like that in school? Is it because someone called them a sissy, or there was a bully, or whatever? You know, I live right across the street from a park, and I see kids in there bored out of their skulls. Okay, playing basketball, loud music, and they're standing around and they're bored. You know, when I was a kid, we used to go around. My brother and I used to do this. We used to go around, mow lawns, and do stuff like that, do work. And my dad was not happy about this. We went down to the shore. Okay, I'm talking real Pennsylvanian here. We went down to the shore points, like Seaside Heights or Wildwood, and my brother and I had more money than my parents had that after they paid for the room. I mean, we each had, this was back in the 70s, 2 kids who went around and shoveled snow and mowed lawns. We each had like about $500-600. That's a lot of money back then.
Yes, it was. And I think that's another part of the issue is, I think the children today aren't taught the same values that we were of hard work and respecting people and property. And so because they weren't taught the same values and the same morals, we end up with the situations like the gun shootings and the attacks. And it's not just gun violence. Gun violence is a huge problem, yes, but there are so many other forms of violence. And we all need to come together to get rid of all of it, whether it be domestic violence, whether it be emotional, physical, whether it's just racism, discrimination, all of it. It needs to go for the sake of not only ourselves, but the future youth of this nation. Because if we don't make changes now, where is this world going to be in the next 5 to 10 years?
It's scary, isn't it?
It's very scary.
You know, what are we borrowing from our children and giving back to them? You know, I've got 13 grandkids. What kind of word am I giving? Okay.
Exactly.
So,
I don't have any grandkids yet, but I think, and my children are pretty much grown. My youngest is 16. But I think about it now, and I can't medically have any more children, but if I could, I wouldn't, because I would not want to put them in this world at all. I can't fathom bringing a child into this world the way things are today.
yeah, it's an angry world. And not to say in the past and my past, and I'm sure yours too, because I mean you're down there in Texas. I don't know if did you grow up in Texas?
I don't, but Calvin used to. Calvin used to do trail rides,
Okay.
and I have my family members used to be in the rodeo. My grandfather, actually, the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, he did the rodeo cook-off every year, and my uncle was a bull rider in the rodeo for many years.
Okay. My father used to work out in New York City a lot. Okay, and that was a real bubbling spot for a lot of violence. He saw some stuff that was kind of scary, and
Right.
so violence is not new. So we've got a long path ahead to deprogram what's out there, and we've got ourselves a big challenge over there in Europe. What do you see happening here with Wake Up Rise Up, and how can we make the biggest bang for our buck, if you will?
I think the way we can make the biggest bang for our buck is the fact that we hold these events every year, like we do. We get the word out, we show statistics, and I think that the more awareness we raise, the more people are going to join the cause, and eventually we're going to all unite as one and be able to make a huge difference in decreasing the crime and the violence and the hate that is just running amok these days. Because I think through several of us, we have some higher connections and reaching out to the right people to get things in front of them to say, hey, this is not okay. This is how we can step up and change it. And I think it really comes down to reminding everybody that our voices can be heard, that we have to overcome that complacency and make a stand.
And what I'm hearing from you, and I'm just going to paraphrase a little bit. What I'm hearing from you is we need a major adjustment.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. So,
I mean, like you said a little bit ago, violence is nothing new. It's been here since the dawn of time, but it's a different type of violence these days than it was when I was in school or when you were in school, and history does repeat itself, unfortunately, but we can make a difference in that to where it doesn't repeat itself.
I love that line. I love that line. Make a difference. That is such a great line. I really do. I'm a bit of a, if you'll forgive me for going into a real weird area here, I'm a bit of a trekker. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And Kirk, when he was next to Picard, and they were fighting to save some planet, and then he falls off the mountain, and he just says, "Did we make a difference?" And Picard says, "We did." Remember that?
Yes, I do. I remember that very well.
I saw it too many times to forget it. So and he goes, "It was fun." And I hope that we have fun doing this and making a difference, because music is fun. So yeah.
Music is very fun, and music is the universal language for the human race. Everybody can relate to music. I don't care what background you come from, what area of town you live in. We can all relate to music. And that's why I think the fact that we are doing this in a musical way is such a huge selling point to make a difference.
Do you sing or play an instrument?
I sing. I used to be in a band many years ago, and I promote independent artists. I own my own company, Social Unity Music Promotions, promoting independent music artists and booking gigs and raising awareness for them. Yeah,
that's cool. My exposure to Wake Up Rise Up was minimal at first, because I came on 9 days before last broadcast, and I had to figure this mess out, and I did, and we got it going. And now I've had the pleasure of getting to know everybody in this organization. Well, I shouldn't say everybody because there's 3,000 people. And I haven't had that many friends. I'm I'm getting there. I've only got about 2,500 to go. So, but
well, that's okay. Those numbers are awesome. That just means we're growing the cause.
Yes, it's really cool. I've just in producing this show here, I've met a very small handful, and the diversity of what everyone's saying is pretty neat. And I'll leave you with this, and then because we're just about out of time, but I'll leave you with this one. I talked to a guy who was a medic in the Vietnam War, and boy, did he have a view.
Oh, I can imagine.
Oh yeah, major view. And the odd thing was about him, he's one of my best friends. I never knew that he was a medic. That's how much he sits on this. And I said, well, why are you doing this for peace? Just like I asked you. He says, why? He says, can I speak my mind? That's what we're here for. And he let it go. And he told me why. And I got to tell you what, at this moment right now, hearing what that man went through, he's one of the nicest guys you'd ever meet. And he sat there and he told me how it was. And I was watching, before we came in here, I was watching some stuff on ABC and CNN and Fox and Beyond, WION. And I try to keep abreast of what's going on over there in the Ukraine. Sad.
It's very sad. I've gotten to where I can't. I mean, I will scan the headlines, but I cannot watch the news because it is so sad. Every time you turn it on, it's either excuse me, sorry, story about war or another shooting or stabbing or kidnapping, and I can't watch it. So I do scan headlines to stay updated, but that's the extent of it.
I watch it more than I should because it does affect me very much. Very much. But I watch it because I think I need to know, and I pray on it.
Right.
So, Meagan, we're out of time, and I thank you very much for your time. Okay, it's a pleasure.
Thank you. It was great being here.
Yep, it was fantastic. So thanks, and we will see you on the 21st. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes, September 21st.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, it's the over 60 thing. You start forgetting everything. Thank God for photo IDs. I'm telling you, So at any rate, but we'll see you on the 21st. And this is Steve Jones with Rocket Valley and Wake Up, Rise Up, the weekly show coming at you this week. We have our guest here, Meagan Murry, and we got more coming. So stay with us each week here on Sunday night, 8 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. Good night now.
Please listen to this message for you. It's from the groups of Phase 5 Record Show. When someone said we need to spread the news, we decided to share it through a song. Black crime, white crime, stop the dealing, stop the killing. It's time to kick the devil out your mind. Black crime, white crime, stop the dealing, stop the killing. It's time to kick the devil out your mind. Let's unite. Our lives matter. Rise up, take the rise. Our lives matter. Stand up, let's unite. Our lives matter. Rise
Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive their sins, and will heal their land.